Hello everyone. Today we're going to be walking through the Car Seat Headrest ARG or Internet Challenge, whatever you want to call it. They're a rock band and they're about to release a new album, and they did this challenge to get people talking about their album. This is the science challenge. You can look the answer up on Reddit, or you can think of a word related to biology, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do mathematics. The mathematics challenge is really confusing and it has a lot of random stuff. The first one requires you to know the Riemann zeta function, and it's asking you to, basically write out the series when the Riemann zeta function receives the argument 3, and you have to find a value that's below a certain value. So right now I'm probably looking at my phone, looking at how the Riemann zeta function is written. Just give me a second. That's an ugly z. That's better. So the Riemann zeta function is an infinite series. Starts at 1, goes to infinity. It's the reciprocal of n to the power of s, right? So in this case, s equals 3. And we just look at each term, and we're going to do trial and error until we get a number that's around or very close to that 1 point something times 10 to the negative 9, or close to our target. So I'm writing this out. 1 divided by 1 cubed. Oh, never mind. 1 divided by 1 cubed plus 1 divided by 2 cubed. This is how the series goes up until infinity, you know? Standard stuff. I'm going to put videos on the screen if you want to find out more, because my explanation is very bad. I'm going to put some number file videos there if you want to know what the Riemann zeta function is and why it matters. But we're just going to do it on Desmos. We're going to write this target down, this target number, and we're going to basically graph our infinite series on Desmos, kind of. Except, this one increases in whole numbers, and Desmos is a continuous function, but it doesn't matter. We only have to test the whole values. We only have to test the natural numbers, and the rational numbers, we don't care about them. It's all the same. This is not what it's supposed to look like, but it's a representation of what we want. So we're going to try f of 10, too small, f of 100, 1000, and 1000 is close. This is very close to our target, so we're going to do 900. I already know the answer because I looked it up on Reddit, but this is how the original poster found it, probably by trial and error. I'm going to put their username on the screen right now. And then you'll find that 911 is the right number. 912, every number after that is also going to be smaller. 910 just goes just over, so it can't be that. It has to be 911. And that one's pretty simple. That's the answer. On to challenge number 2. We have a goat attached to a structure, and he's walking around, and we have to find out what area he's covering with a 35-meter rope. The important detail here is that to remember that whenever the goat walks around a corner, his radius is going to decrease by however much he walked. I'm not sure how to explain it, but we'll get there. Right now I'm rotating the image a little bit just to make it easier to understand. And we're going to start in the counterclockwise direction, because that's the hardest one. The counterclockwise is hard. So this goat has 35 meters. Oh, never mind. I made a mistake. We're going to start in this free area that the goat is already in. He doesn't have to round a corner. He's just walking in a semicircle with a radius of 35 meters. And I'm trying to draw it, but it's really bad. It's really ugly. Let's try that again. So you have a semicircle of radius 35 meters. And to calculate the area of that, you just do pi r squared divided by 2. Normally it would be pi r squared, but we're only doing half of it. So I'm writing a little comment here. Yes, we know. Yeah, okay. 35 squared pi divided by 2. Now I'm looking at my phone. It's 1225 divided by 2 pi. Okay, 1225 pi divided by 2 meters squared, which we'll get to that. Now he's going to go in a counterclockwise position. Let's get our next stage here. His rope is going to look, he's going to hit that corner, and his rope is going to decrease by 10 meters. Just like that. Now, from now on, he's not going to make a semicircle anymore. He's going to do a quarter of a circle. I'm drawing that. I'm trying to draw it, but it's really bad. And I'm going to do it again. Yeah, that's fine. So you already know the formula. It's pi r squared divided by 4 instead of 2. But I do make a mistake right here. I'm going to make a mistake pretty soon. Area equals pi 25 squared divided by 2. I wrote 2, but I was supposed to write 4. I'm going to fix that mistake in the final step. But this is a silly mistake. Instead of 2, it should have been 4. But it's all the same. Now this part is the hardest one, because he's gonna turn and he's gonna touch the building. So instead of making a quarter of a circle, he's gonna make an arc. And once again, I got this answer off of Reddit. I'm gonna put the username of the person up on the screen. But he's gonna draw a shape that looks like a knife, I think. That's what I would describe it. Or, I'm not sure. Anyways, that's the shape. And he will round and reach a point that is shorter than 20. His radius is 20, but he's going to round and project that point right there. And the user that I got this answer off of, he split this area into 2 parts. One is an arc and the other is a right triangle. There's your radius, 20, which is also the length of the hypotenuse. But we're going to split it in 2. There's your triangle. And the pizza slice, it looks like. It kind of looks like a pizza slice. We're gonna call the pizza slice alpha and the triangle beta so we can make it easier on ourselves. There's your Pythagoras theorem. You already know. Huh. Yeah, 20 squared equals 5 squared plus a squared. So a is approximately, I think it was 19 or 18. It's the square root of a large number. So it's approximately this, 19.3649 meters. We still haven't gotten the area. That was a small mistake, but we'll fix it. Now I have to look at my notes because just to double check, I have to look at my last attempt. We're looking for the sign of a number. I'm not sure, I'm a little confused, but we'll get there. So this angle is theta. This angle right there is theta. The sine of theta is the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. That's obvious. 1/4. Theta is approximately 1/4 as well. And because of parallel lines or something to do with Euclides, the angle of our pizza slice is also equal to theta. You know, parallel lines and that stuff. So we're just going to take the area of a sector and use our angle that we found. Area of a sector is theta divided by 2 times r squared. And well, this is the formula if the angle is measured in radians. You don't need pi, you just plug it in. $50. That was easy. We forgot to calculate the area of the triangle, but that's easy as well. It's base times height divided by 2. And we're probably going to have to use a calculator for that. Yeah. But the result is approximately 48.412225 meters squared. Now I just got to add them up. 48 plus 50 is 98. So that's easy. That was the hardest part of the problem. Now we're gonna backtrack and the little goat is gonna walk in the clockwise direction, which is much easier. Still looking at my notes again. So now, he had a rope of 35 meters. He rounded a corner after 20, so he's left with 15, I believe. And he's going to make a quarter of a circle. This is just repeating the previous steps. That's a mistake. Huh. I think, yeah. Yeah, that's a mistake. It's 35 minus 20. And I'm double checking on my calculator, but I know the answer. 225 divided by 4 pi meters squared. I think this is the last one. The last one, because the little goat is not going to be able to reach that weird ring at the end of the structure. He's only going to round this corner. And, well, you know the answer is 5. I think he only has 5 meters of rope left, and he's doing a quarter of a circle. 25 pi divided by 4. Yes. I think that's it. Let's see. Okay, just got done cracking my knuckles. It's 25 pi divided by 4. That's easy. Now we gotta add all these numbers together. And probably have to cut this part out because I tried to do something stupid. I tried to select each number and paste them, but that's not gonna work. So we'll write out each number individually. 1225 divided by 2 pi, that's the first one. Plus, the second one is 625 divided by 4, actually. 625 divided by 4, not by 2. And I'm going to fix that mistake right now. Easy enough. Next one. $98.41225 plus 225 divided by 4 and 25 divided by 4. Easy enough. Okay, you add these all together on your calculator, and you're gonna get approximately I'm waiting. Damn. It's taking forever. Okay, we got 2709.861143. That is our area, and the problem told us to round to the nearest foot, or nearest square foot, so it's 2,710 meters squared, but there's more. Problem also tells us to add 2,973. So we'll add that. $2,973. Didn't even use a calc. That's crazy. And the result is 5683 meters squared. You convert it to hectares. Convert it to hectares, you get 0.5683 hectares. Cool.
I'll take a quiet life of handshakes and carving the knot.
Now, problem number 3 is the most confusing. It makes the least sense of all. I saw one guy saying that he studies math in college and he didn't know what the hell it was supposed to mean. But another Redditor decided to just Google this number, 7,600,000,000,000, and so on and so forth. And he came across, it'll come up in a minute, he came across the Knuth up arrow notation, which is the thing invented by a computer science guy. It's basically hyper operations. We're gonna get there. But as you can see, the number is right there, the exact number that we're looking for, and there's your answer, If you want, you can get your answer just based off of this, but we're gonna try to figure out a way to work through this. Instead of just getting the answer off Wikipedia, we're gonna try to use some reasoning. It's not perfect, but I think it's good enough. So we're going to do this by going through each hyperoperation from 1 to 4, 1 to 5 maybe. Obviously, x has to be greater than or equal to 0. It has to be a natural number, actually. I didn't mention that. It has to be a natural number because that's how the hyperoperations are defined. We have h sub 1 is addition. And h sub 2 is the next level is multiplication. The next level is exponentiation, and then you have tetration, because tetra is 4. What I was gonna say is that this notation created by that computer science guy, I think led to the description of Graham's number. I'm gonna leave some videos up on the screen from Numberphile if you want to see a much better explanation of this notation and of Graham's number, because it's an interesting concept. But yeah, we're gonna go through 1, 2, 3, 4 and see if it makes sense. Basically, one of the parameters that we want is if the result is a whole number. If the result is a whole number, it means someone messed up or the answer doesn't make sense. Hopefully that makes sense for you. Right here, I'm trying to demonstrate what tetration is, but my math skills are not all that. So you have a kind of a ladder of A's, and it goes up to heaven like a stairway to heaven, and you end up with a very, very large number, like 7,600,000,000,000, yada yada. But yeah, we'll go through each one and see if we can get some sensible answers. So h sub 1 is addition. H sub 1, and the inputs to the function, I forgot to mention this, the inputs to the function, they're on the left and right side of the operator. So in this case, since we have addition, it's going to be, it's like a cross in between the two terms. We're just adding them. Usually you don't see a function with two arguments in math. That is definitely a computer science thing. But yeah, at the beginning, I'm not going to write out the whole number. I'm just writing 7.6 TN, because that is a long-ass number. But anyway, you do your algebra. 2x minus 2 equals 7.6 trillion. And if you add 2 to that number, it's still going to be odd. An odd number divided by 2 is rational. So that can't be the answer. Can't be H1 because the result of this expression is rational. Moving on, we have h sub 2, multiplication. We're just going to multiply the left times the right, and we're going to get 7,600,000,000,000. X minus 1 dot x minus 1 equals that number. Oh, we're writing it out. Okay. I'm going to go all the way. So we're back to algebra. We're just going to take the square root of that number. If the square root is not a natural number, then it's not it. We don't even have to evaluate the whole thing. We just do the first step, taking the square root. And if it's not a natural number, it's the wrong answer. There you go. That's a rational number. Oops. The root of 7.6 trillion is not a whole number. So this is not what we're looking for. Moving on to exponentiation. At this point, I didn't want to write out the whole expression x minus 1 because it's hella confusing. So I just wrote u to the power of u equals 76255. Yeah, I didn't want to write the whole expression, so I just did u to the power of u. And at this point, I do make a little mistake. I write that 3 to the power of 3 equals this. Right, u to the power of u, and I wrote 3 to the power of 3. That's wrong. That is not right. That is a mistake that I make all the time. It was supposed to be 2 to the power of 2, but it doesn't matter. Either way, the expression is false. And if the expression is false, then we need to move on. Finally, we get to H sub 4, tetration, which is absolutely insane. I couldn't think of a precise way to figure this out, so we're gonna try to graph it on Desmos and try to wiggle something out. I don't know. But there you go. There's another kind of trying to explain what tetration is. Once again, watch the number file video. But there's our little expression. We're going to take it to Desmos. We're going to write a function that goes log base x of that number. And, well, there's a continuous function with infinite points, but we're only looking at the whole numbers. From this graph, we want to get a pair of points that are natural numbers, where x and y are both natural. I'm about to write that out, so I'll be quiet for a minute. So somewhere here in this graph, the answer must be a pair of natural numbers. If we can find a point on the graph that has two natural numbers, it means that our math probably makes sense. Okay, I'm not a mathematician, but this is just the way I found to solve this problem, is we find a pair of natural x and y. So f of 1 is undefined. F of 2 is a rational number. F of 3 is perfect. F of 3 works! Exclamation point. F of 9 does not work, even though it's a power of 3. Probably has something to do with the hyper operation. But F of 27 also works because it's the inverse of 3. And so there's your answer. We found a point where the x equals 3 and the y equals 27. They're both natural numbers. So it means that the correct operation that we were looking for is tetration. And that is the expression. Once again, this solution is based on the possibility that you were just happened to be looking at the Wikipedia page. At that Wikipedia page, right? The math doesn't really need to make a lot of sense. And I feel like my explanation of the hyper operator was lacking, but it's something.